Okay. Um, Tell me why and when you moved to Wilton Manors.
Why and when? Okay, why and when I moved to Wilton Manors is my mother and father lived here first. And then when I came here, when my husband was in service, I came and lived with them for a short time.
I had no choice. I came with her.
Long time afterwards.
Describe the city when you first moved here.
I loved the city when I first came here. It was very small. You knew all your neighbors. The police used to go down the street and all the kids would jump on the cars and talk to the policemen. I mean, it was definitely your small city. A good community.
Describe raising a family.
Raising a family? My family really and truly, they went to Hagen Park, but not too often. I kept them right in the neighborhood because we had over 100 kids in a circle there. And they mostly were in my backyard.
What was that like at that time?
Well, youngster, you don't really understand what's going on at that time in that age, but it was, when you get older, you find it was really neat that you could stay home and all the friends in the neighborhood would come over to the house and hang out in the backyard. But our backyard was hooked up to Janata Pool, which our community all went to, and had swimming events there for 4th of July, and we'd have races. And every year for a bunch of years, a guy would go, "I'll count your freckles for a nickel," and he'd count a few freckles and he'd give me a nickel and send me on my way. And it was unique and a fun time in Wilton Manors.
What was the neighborhood that you first moved into? Describe how it was when you moved into it and how it is now.
Well, there was a lot more children in the neighborhood. There's and a lot more per home back then, and it was very Catholic because of the Catholic Church being in school, being right down the street from us, and it was just perfect to raise children there. There was over 100 children in our vicinity there, from newborns to high school graduation, in that one circle.
But there was open lots in our neighborhood too.
Oh, yeah.
When I grew up, there was actually still lots that were empty that we played in too. And Power Line Road at that time was only a 2-lane highway. Big difference.
What was it like going to school in Wilton Manors?
I guess the same as anywhere else when you're a youngster. I went to St. Clement's for a couple of years, which was just down the street from our house off of Power Line. And then after that, I went to Wilton Manors Elementary School. And what's unique about not me going there, but all 3 of my kids went through Wilton Manors Elementary School, so it was kind of neat to see my kids go through the same schools to grow up with. So it was fun and unique to see them go through Fort Lauderdale High School. My wife and I both went to Fort Lauderdale High School, and all 3 kids went to and graduated from Fort Lauderdale High School now.
Describe your favorite teacher.
My favorite teacher was at Everglades. That wasn't even close here. It was on the other side. Because he was caring. He was the most caring person I've ever met in my life. I didn't like school at the time, and I was getting kind of bad grades. And he turned me around. I went from probably C's and D's to A's and B's. And the first time I brought a report card home, my parents were shocked. They were wondering whose report card I brought home. But I attributed it to my teacher in Everglades. He was Mr. McLaughlin. He was a wonderful person and cared tremendously for his students. McLaughlin. He was a drafting teacher, but he inspired me to, get better grades in here if you want to do this over here, and pat you on the back and things like that. You really left an impression on me.
Describe shopping.
Shopping? Well, I can tell you that all of his clothes and his brother's clothes came from Pierce's 10-cent store. That was the Buster Brown t-shirts and long pants and shorts, and they never wore out. All different colors. And McGilligan's stationery store, office supplies. Yeah, a lot of shopping there. Oh, and of course at Five Points, that root beer stand. What was the name?
A&W root beer.
Drive-in root beer thing.
Wish we could get that back today.
Yeah, we used to go for a gallon of root beer. You take your gallon jug and get a gallon of root beer. That was their treat.
What was the politics like in that time?
At that time, well, who was that I can remember the most is Jerry Thompson and Nancy Stafford. Those two mainly.
Okay, tell us about Nancy.
About Nancy, she was a great person. She truly was. I belonged to the women's club, a junior women's club of Wilton Manors, and I started their first, not picnic, what was it? Celebration. And we had chicken and all kinds of stuff, and we had builders that had things there, and the Kiwanis, and it was pretty big. We got rained out. Could not have it at all. And she told me, she settled me down, and she said, Phyllis, these things happen, but you go on from this.
What about the towers of Wilton Manors?
Oh yeah, that's the first thing you saw when you came down 26th Street, was those towers. I can remember before we even moved in here, we lived out at Broadview Park for 5 years. And I lived at my home over here over 36 years. And that's the first thing you saw was those things. And when we came from the other way, 441, there was nothing but orange groves.
How did towers work in with being a kid?
Honestly, I didn't go to those towers too much because by our house, if you see the new entranceways at Janata
Yeah.
Isle, we just refurbished them. That's where I played. I wasn't at the house or in the pool. We were hanging around there because you made little forts because they're curved. You really can't see behind there from the road, so we go hide behind there and peek out through the little holes that are in the entranceways.
I kept them close to home.
Yeah, you did.
They did not go out.
Unless you wanted something from the grocery store, then I always set me right
Yeah.
away because I'd
Yeah.
get there quick, back and forth quick.
And get back with the money in the bag.
What about the grocery store?
Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie is where Walgreens is on Andrews right now. And then there was a drugstore across the street from there, Decker Drugs. And my father had a building, and he built all the seawall around town, and he built Janata Villas over there. And his office was right next door to Decker Drugs, and then there was a barber shop. I can't remember the other things that were there.
Probably changed.
How did water play a role in growing up?
Oh, wow. I mean, from the day we could actually, I remember we had a little 6-foot wooden boat
Yeah.
with a 5-horse motor.
Dinghy.
And my brother and I and a couple friends, we were probably no more than 7.
Yeah.
We'd go out there and we'd get a old piece of wood, we'd grab a piece of rope, and we'd go out there and we'd pull each other behind the little teeny dinghy on a little piece of wood. Now they call them surfboards, or not surfboards, they call them skimboards now. You spend $80
Yeah.
to $100 for them. We got one for free at a piece of lumber hanging around the corner. And we'd swim in there, and it was a lot cleaner back then, the water. And never saw gators or anything like that, but we were in there, boy, after school, weekends, all the time. We were in the pool or in the river most of the time, I think, when we were growing up.
That's right.
What were the parks like?
There wasn't that many parks. You had Hagen Park, and you had Mickle Field. And
Yes,
when I grew up,
Mickle Field you
right,
went to.
I played football there. I played basketball there,
Baseball.
and then later in life, I became the president of baseball for Wilton Manors, and my son played for baseball in Wilton Manors. So,
What was the police department like?
Like I say, the kids, and people and the kids, we were very close to them. Whether you knew them or not, you were close to them because they were friendly. It was small town all the way.
Who was the principal back then?
The principal,
trying to think. Well, there's two schools because my sisters went to St. Clement's almost the whole 8 years.
Yeah.
And my brother and I went to Wilton Manors Elementary after a few years. I'm trying to.
And, you know, I knew the sister of the principal,
I know.
and I forgot.
Not Davidica. Davidica, was she the principal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sister Davidica.
That's right.
How do I remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start that over then.
Okay.
So just tell me about the principal.
The principal was Sister Davidica at St. Clement's School and Church, and she was a tough woman. That was back in the days where if you did something wrong, they didn't call the parents. They got out the ruler and smacked you on the hands or on the rear end, something like that. And I got it a couple times.
What's the most trouble you were in growing up?
I don't
Climbed
know.
up on the church's
Climbed
roof.
up on the church's roof.
And he was in the 3rd grade.
Yeah. Somebody said I wouldn't do it or I couldn't do it, so I proved them wrong. I wish I wouldn't have gone up there because it was
Started getting down.
getting down. When I got down, it was worse. My mom and dad really tore into me for doing it.
Describe what the drive was when you first got here and how it's evolved.
The Wilton Drive. Well, we didn't have all these stores that was here before. I'm trying to think what all we did have, but
Oh,
it was
Rothy's.
quieter.
Rothy's was there, and the Five and Dime was there.
Yeah.
A&P.
Piggly Wiggly was
Piggly
there.
Wiggly, that's right.
Piggly Wiggly was
that's
there
right.
in the grocery store, in that shopping center. What else?
We had the farm stores that was there.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
But it was quieter. It wasn't as much traffic as we have now.
Describe playing when you were growing up here and the things you did.
I think the difference today than it was before nowadays, I think parents take their kids somewhere to play, like to Hagen Park and the Mickle Field, where back then we would just ride our bikes or walk to Mickle Field and play. We do the same things. I think the difference too is nowadays kids have PlayStation, and back then we didn't have any of that. We played stickball out in the street. We played dodgeball. We went to the park and just threw a football around or just goofed off. I mean, you were all active. I mean, always running around doing something. We had a huge tree in the front and the backyard of our house. And of course, we had a tree fort, and we had the ropes coming down, and we're always playing cowboys and Indians or something like that.
And
So,
they played ball out in the street. And even when the police would come by, they would wait for the kids to get out. You know, whenever they got out, that was okay.
But back then we got out of the way right away, though.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
in trouble if we didn't get out of the way for a car.
They respected the police. Believe me, they did.
Who was the bird lady?
Who was what?
The bird lady.
The bird lady?
Bird lady.
Don't know.
She was the one that lived in the towers, but I guess
Oh,
She's what?
lived in the towers. The towers, Wilton Towers.
That I never heard of. That must have been before
Really?
me, because I don't remember
Don't know
that.
everybody in every part of the city, but I don't remember her.
what was the evolution of the towers? Now that it's, when you first came here, it was here, and kind of describe when it got tore down. And what happened.
I think it was very sad.
Towers.
Yeah. Very sad when it got torn down, the towers.
Because it was kind of a unique thing for our
Yes,
city.
it was.
I mean, everybody knew what it was. I mean, 5 Points is even today, anybody in Broward County, if you were to say, meet me at 5 Points, they knew exactly where to go.
Yeah.
They may not know it was Wilton Manors, but they knew where that spot was. And, I mean, I don't remember, I remember the towers a little bit, but not as much as my mother or some of the older generation may be remembering it. But it's nice to have it in the City Hall now. In the Chambers we have, well, now the Chambers got hurt in the hurricane, but a gentleman redid the...
Go ahead and do it in present tense, since
Oh.
it's all going to be redone anyway.
Okay.
So,
The towers are now in City Hall that were made by Mr. Lungsford, and his company actually made a makeup of the old towers. It's kind of neat, these little cars, and you've got the streets and the two towers there. And it would be nice to see that somewhere again. And I think it may be possible that Wilton Drive somewhere, maybe not both the towers, but maybe one of them re-erected there somewhere.
what was City Hall like?
Very small. I had 4 kids in 4 years. I didn't go to places like that.
Well, the police station wasn't there that is now. It was just the main city hall was
Yeah.
the whole entire thing.
Thing was right there.
But it's really, if you look at the city hall today, if you don't look at the police department side, that's what city hall
That's
was.
what, yeah.
Except a lot newer and cleaner and watertight and
Okay. Between now and then, how do you feel about Wilton Manors?
Well, I don't live in Wilton Manors now. I live in a condo in Fort Lauderdale. But I love Wilton Manors. I mean, I love to this day. And I'm sorry I can't vote in Wilton Manors or go to the meetings.
that's right, Mom. Thanks.
But no, I love it today. This park is gorgeous. We're so fortunate. I don't live in the city, but I feel like I'm still here.
I'm still here and mayor of the city for a reason, because I like my city so much, and I know where it came from and where we're going, and I want to make sure we stay in the right direction and still make it a community. I say it all the time to people that this is not really a city, but it's a community. And we're going back to the old days where you knew all your neighbors
Yes.
and you did things with your neighbors. And for a while there in the 70s, I'd say, and early 80s, you didn't do that. You were lucky to know some of your neighbors. But now it's revolving into where you know your neighbors and you do things. You go out to dinner with them. You have a lot of areas now, it seems, they close off streets and have block parties,
Yes,
which
yeah.
you did not see 15, 20 years ago.
Well, and we used to go on vacation down to the Keys.
Mm-hmm.
25 of our neighbors went at the same time for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
The starting of lobster season.
that's right. Fresh lobster.
Now, when you first moved into Wilton Manors, didn't they have block parties?
Yes, right in front of our house. We had our right smack in front of our house. Yes, we did.
They don't block out the street then. They still.
They didn't need to.
We
yeah.
put the tables on one side of the street,
Yeah.
so people can still get by. And today, I don't think you want to do that. People drive too fast.
And
They gotta
4th
block
of
it up.
July, I wouldn't call them block parties, but that's exactly what they were. They had, right in the street, they had the fireworks and all the seats were all lined up.
But even earlier than that, we had that big party at the pool, Janata Pool.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, 4th of July, they'd have swimming races, they'd have ribbons for kids.
Parades.
Parades, we'd have
Yeah.
bicycles. You go up and down 29th Street. And they give awards for the best bicycle. And then we'd have horseshoes in the back and basketball court back in the back we'd play games on. We had 2 huge grills back there, and we'd cook hamburgers and hot dogs and
Yeah.
chicken, and we'd probably have 200-300 people, I think, from right down
at
the community
least,
there.
yeah.
And that was just our little community. It wasn't the whole city. There was just people with the families near the Janata Pool that would go over there and get together for,
And friends, yeah.
for an event.
What kind of events or parties did the city have back then?
Well, that one thing that we had, the city had was the Wilton Manors Junior Women's Club. We did that. I can't remember.
The parties we still have some are like the Halloween. They call
Oh,
it
yeah.
spectacular now, but
Over
it used
at-
to be a Halloween party.
Over
that
at
you come
Mickett's
over.
Field, we would have Halloween parties, Easter, hunting for the Easter eggs. Yes.
A lot of the same things I think
Yeah.
we have now, but a different scale. We still have quite a few hundred kids for the Easter egg hunt. I think the last time we probably had 300 or 350 kids there. It was packed.
How has the fire department evolved over the years?
Well, we always had our
Yeah.
fire department in Wilton Manors
Volunteer.
was a volunteer fire department. Yes, till probably, I don't know, I guess 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. It was always volunteer. And half of the department, the volunteer department, was actually city workers, employees of our city
Yeah.
that would stop working whatever they were doing and go on the call. And I don't think you'll find anywhere. I think the only left volunteer is Plantation. I think they're just about ready to get rid of theirs too. But we were the smallest fire department, I think, but
Yeah.
it was really useful, very, very good for our city to have one.
How's the evolution of Wilton Manors Bank? What was the evolution of Wilton Manors Bank?
Is that SunTrust now? SunTrust, is now used to be Sunbank, which used to be
Oh, yes, yes.
Manors Bank. It's funny. It's been there forever, and
Yeah.
I banked there from when I was old enough to get a bank account. I've always had an account there,
Yeah.
and now they're getting ready to tear it down. But they're going to rebuild it, and they're going to have commercial on the bottom. The bank will be there again. It's not leaving. It's just going to be new with a new building and residential on top. But I think there'll always be a bank there.
Yeah.
Just wasn't the original bank where Georgie's is now?
No. There was another bank there, and it was behind it. You know where the gym is? There used to be a bank there. Right? You can talk. It doesn't matter. Oh, was it there? But it wasn't there that long, though, really, was it? Yeah, it wasn't there that long. Not like SunTrust or something like that, or Wilton Manors Bank.
Kind of summarize your feelings of Wilton Manors.
It's home. Wilton Manors, the city of Wilton Manors is home. Home to me, home to my kids. It just is home. Great place to raise kids.
Sort of like what I did. I went away,
Never
got
left.
married, and moved away to Oakland Park, and came back to Wilton Manors because, honestly, I missed it. My wife didn't live in Wilton Manors, but I just told her how great of a time we had. We always came to all the parties in Wilton Manors after we moved away when we got married, and we loved it so much, we said, you know, we got to go back. It's just, I missed it too much. I'll be here for, I don't know, maybe till the day I die.
Is there anything else you would like to mention about either the past or the present of Wilton Manors?
It's tough for you because you're gone now, but the past and present is different. Or what I like about I like the changes of Wilton Manors are having. Being a youngster and growing up that
Yeah.
way, and seeing how everybody was so comfortable with each other, and then seeing it how it drifted away from that, and now it's coming back to where we're really coming back to that community feel again, is what keeps me here.
The
I
community
will find it.
feel plus the looks of Wilton Manors
Oh, yes,
is
of course.
definitely beautiful. It truly is. It sort of ran down a little bit.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
You touched on something I want to bring up. Describe the bad era, the slump that Wilton Manors went through.
Boy.
What, do we have any?
Well, we had a bad area. We had a couple
Right
areas
here.
of the city that in the middle.
Right here.
Bad area of the city was right here in this area right here where this park is. Before it was
Yeah.
a park, there was a lot of drugs and a lot of bad things going on. This is where the police really hated to go into, but had to go into obviously, and it's turned around in the last 10, 15 years. And now you can walk any one of these streets right here and not feel uncomfortable. I would. There's no place in Wilton Manors anymore that I would feel uncomfortable.
No, I
But
wouldn't either.
we had one or two places in Wilton Manors, but this was the worst. This was the worst. Highlands Estates was the worst, and it's wonderfully changed. It's a great place to walk around.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.